You said replay. It reminded me of remix.
Yeah. Same thing.
I don't
Brit?
know. Your daughter likes it. Okay,
Yeah,
so the
she
next
loves it.
thing, speaking of Xbox, we're going to talk about is Don Mattrick leaves Xbox. Microsoft. I mean,
Yeah, so if people don't know, he was the president of Xbox One development and blah, 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 blah. Fancy president title. And apparently Xbox is doing a restructuring within the company, and he was not going to, you know, expand his, his position. He wasn't going to grow. So he decided to, hey, screw it. Zynga's offering me their CEO position. And you all know Zynga is the company that's currently losing a crap load of stock.
yeah, I was
And
going to say they're in trouble.
they make all the Facebook games like Farmvilles and Cityvilles and blah blahvilles and Douchevilles. All those games they are responsible for, and as we are well aware, they've lost a crap load of stock. They fired a shitload of staff, and he's been brought in as their CEO to try and help restructure them and get them back on their feet.
My
So,
opinion is he screwed up during interviews, was forced to resign, and Zynga picked him up.
well, we all remember the infamous quote where he said, "Well, if you don't have internet, well, you might as well just buy an Xbox 360." He said that in an interview.
Didn't Marie Antoinette once say a similar thing?
And then she got her face cut off.
And then she got her head cut off. So I think forcing to resign from Microsoft is light compared to what happened to Marie Antoinette.
Mm.
Well,
You know?
he failed. He dropped the ball. I mean, he said a lot of things during interviews that it just
He Paula Deaned it.
he Paula Deaned Microsoft a little bit, like especially with that single comment. The face of what's his name, Geoff Neely, however you pronounce his name, from G4, whatever it might be. The look in his eyes when he says like, "Well, if you don't have internet, we have a system for you. It's Xbox 360." He's like, "Oh, so you're pretty much telling people screw you, stick with 360." Well, no, we're not saying that. Well, you pretty much are for saying, "Hey, you don't have the good enough internet."
I don't think it was like, I think we said this before. I don't think it was wrong that he said that, but the way he said it just come off kind
exactly.
of brash and smug.
The way he presented it made it look like Microsoft was saying, "Fuck you, buy our new console." That's the way it looked when you're doing an interview, especially with someone who's one of the bigger names in the gaming industry for all that such.
Yeah.
If
So-
too poor to eat bread, let them eat cake. No, there's nothing wrong with saying that. Fuck you, Marie Antoinette, and your Versailles Palace and your painted horses.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm going to think about.
Okay, another big kind of, at least for the Gears community, a big leave that we have today. Chris Wynn leaves Epic in order to go to BioWare to work on the next Mass Effect.
Let me say something about this real quick. We're all aware how Epic has had some very interesting internal struggles. We had the departure of Cliff E.B. a while ago. Then we had Rod Ferguson, who left to go to Bioshock.
Let's see, Rod Ferguson left.
Yep.
Then Cliffy left.
Was it Rod Ferguson
Then-
first? I thought it was Cliffy.
Yeah, no, it was Rod Ferguson. Then Cliffy left. Then
The president left.
Mike Capps,
Mike Capps. And then Quinn left to go to 343.
Quinn, and now Chris Wynn.
And now Chris Wynn. So a lot of big name developers and producers within the company have left.
Yeah,
I wonder what his role is going to be, though, because Chris Wynn was brought in right before Judgment, or during Judgment's development. I think he was brought in just to finalize the game and push it out the door, kind of like how Rod Ferguson was sent to Irrational to help with the final 9 months of development for that to get Infinite out the door, and now he's no longer with Irrational. So will Chris Wynn be with BioWare post Mass Effect 4 or Mass Effect whatever they call it? I don't know. Maybe they're bringing him on just to help produce the game.
Well, see, and that makes me think the other thing for Gears that there's not going to be. See, they're not announcing any replacements right now. So that makes me think that maybe Gears. I know there will be another Gears of War game on Xbox eventually, but.
There's definitely going to be an Xbox One. You know that.
Yeah, the fact that they haven't announced replacements for these people, I don't think that it will be anytime soon.
Not only won't be anytime soon, I wonder if Epic is still contracted to make another Gears, because that's why they did Judgment for Xbox 360, because they're on the contract of Microsoft Game Studios. Is there still another game or two underneath the belt? Because if there is, that means they are forced to design another game by an X release date time frame. So if there is, let's face it, there's not many key staff who developed the series there anymore. Everyone who's had their hands on it is down to maybe, 15%, 20% that we're aware of who still works on Gears. We know Pete Nubb's still there as a senior programmer on it for the multiplayer side. What's going to happen with the franchise, we don't know. As we can see, the fan base for Gears has completely just
Um,
walked out the door.
so
Yeah.
I don't really care about the inner workings of game companies and everything like that. And it's not me being an asshole, and I'll try to do this quick because
Okay.
I think you know what I'm going to talk about. Uh, I'm an example of the entertainment industry. I worked at Clear Channel Communications, which was the largest corporation in the world about 5 years ago. Um, and you saw this same shit happening more and more frequently as the company went down the tubes, till eventually they had to lay off about 95% of their staff worldwide. And it's because people are like, well, shit, something's happening in the entire industry. I can't be in this company anymore. I'm going to jump to that guy because that guy might be making more money. Then all of a sudden, one company's going to have lots of money and start buying up all the other companies that are going bankrupt. And then they'd be like, fuck, I have all these companies now. What do I do? I'm going bankrupt. I'm trying to sell them off. And the whole system's going to collapse, which is literally what happened to radio. And it's still happening to radio now. So, I mean, you've had the video game industry crash before in the 80s, and it's looking to go that way as well with all the new trends and everything that, some people are buying into. Now, don't forget, I saw it happen firsthand. It's not the fans do not don't really count for making the industry as much as you want to believe that you are part of the industry and helping it grow by buying their games. You don't count at all. You're a fraction of what actually makes their money go round. Because all the Clear Channel stations I worked at had billions of fans, and then they still shut down. So it doesn't matter where you are as the consumer. Just keep buying the shit because you like to play it. And that's all I got to say. Because it's going to collapse, and you'll see it collapse, and you'll all cry. But who the fuck cares? As long as you get a game, you get a game, right?
Yeah.
Well, the
All
thing I
right.
can say about that real quick is, as we're well aware, going into E3 and coming out of E3, you either have AAA games, boom, AAA, big budget, $60 million+ per game to develop. Then you have the indie, cheaper ones to make, quick, out the door, great little fun short games. There's no middle ground. I didn't see any middle ground coming out of E3 because there's always been that indie, small, growing, medium, then large. But now it seems it's either going to be dump in 60 million plus, or small team of 5 to 10 people develop a quick game that they can put on Steam Greenlight and release and make a bunch of money off of. So that's going to show you that the industry is changing completely, especially with free to play now as being on another big model that a lot of companies are embracing, especially on console now with the announcement of Killer Instinct going free to play. I believe Warframe is going to be free to play along with PlanetSide 2 on PlayStation 4 as well. So things are changing big time going into 8th gen.
The only thing with free to play though is that whole system relies on microtransactions.
Yeah.
And microtransactions kind of get rid of the point of gaming. So I mean, I'm not a fan of them. I've done them before for games I love, just so I could keep up with the people. Like Team Fortress 2, if you start out with not buying anything, you're fucked. You won't have any fun. As soon as I bought one weapon pack for one, why can't I think of the class? There you go. I was able to keep up with everybody else and unlock other weapons, but you have to do that one initial microtransaction, and that's the only thing I just keep